which I prepared for OSCP, and it has very good track. Like there are various tracks from which you can learn. Like there is OSCP track, which is dedicatedly designed for OSCP, and there are very good machine into it. So you can practice them as well if you want. And hack the box, you can perform these activity on the retired machine. You can sign up. You can have access to that particular machines in on hack the box as well. Or also there are certain other things like infosec resources. There are hacking articles where you can gain access and you can understand how all these things are. And the most important thing, minimum configuration requirement is already we have already put. So i5 is something. If you are a bit Intel lover, you have i5, 8 GB of RAM, and 500 GB is at least the configuration is we are looking for, because if we provide you a machine and you are running on virtual environment, and if the configuration is less, you will feel some frustration because the machine will hang, it may respond you slowly. So this is what we have recommended, that you have at least i5 and 8 GB of RAM along with 500 GB of storage device. So now lab structure. So this is your machine means it could be your Windows machine, it could be your any machine on which you are hosting. And most of the people, what they do is they basically install Kali on their VM. So we are actually replicating our Tiger Kali. So this could be your Kali, and the vulnerable machine which we will provide you, that I have already shared that we will provide you the vulnerable machine prior to like 2 days before of commencing the session. So you can configure it, you can put it so that once we show you how to exploit the machine, you will be able to perform this activity, and you will be able to like feel how to approach for this machine and how to crack this particular machine and capture the flag that we have put it into the machine. Now capture the flag. So capture the flag is the ultimate goal, because most of the organization or the certification or any CTF program which is like arranged for you, the ultimate goal is not to steal the data from them, but to go to a particular location where they have stored the flags so that they can verify that you have reached to that location. That means you have sufficient privileges. You have everything in your pen testing activity that you have performed, and you have achieved that particular goal. And you will be able to perform all these activity, and you were able to crack their privileges and were able to capture the data. So we will show you how to perform this or how to capture the particular flag so that you will be able to do it. Okay, so now we will. So Shetan will provide you the live demo, and you will be able to see how to crack this machine. Over to you, Shetan, for this.
Thanks, Rishabh. Just give me a few seconds. So team, let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, Shetan, so we are able to see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so coming to the live demo part. So here in this case, what we have done is we will be keeping an assumption where a client has given a task to penetrate their network. Okay, so what we have done is we have connected our laptop into their organization network. From their DHCP server, we have got an IP. Okay, and from there on, our task will start. So what the first we will do is we will start to scan the whole network, and we will try to find like what all different machines are available within that network. Then after that we will perform the Nmap scan. We will try to identify what all ports are running on the target system. What operating systems are running. Then basis on that, we will move on to finding the exploits, by which we can get the our foothold into the target system. Okay. As then after that, we will exploit the target. Then we will gain the shell access to that machine, and finally we will show you generally where we can find the final flag. Okay. So let's start. So team, so this is our attacker machine, which is basically a Kali Linux machine. Let me log in. Okay. So here in this case, what we have done is we have just prepared the list of the commands. We'll be just copying this command one by one and pasting in the terminal, just to make this whole session a quick. Okay. So here is our network. Okay, so we have connected to a network which is of this series, which is 192.168.144 series. Okay, and so the first step is discovering the host within this network. So what we will do is we will use the Nmap tool and we will perform a host discovery scan. So for that, this is the command. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Okay. So here in this case, we'll be putting the Nmap command, -sn command, which tells the Nmap to do the host discovery scan. We will give the network and /24 in order to scan the C subnet. Okay. So we'll just hit enter and we will wait for the result to come.
Also one thing, just zoom a bit so that everyone can see what you have executed.
Sure. Okay. Is it better now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Rishabh. Okay. So team, as you can see over here that we have found few results from this Nmap scan. Okay. So what we will do is, for the sake of this demo, we will stick to the IP, which is 192.168.144.155. Okay. So we'll just copy this IP address. The next step is to perform a port scan on that target IP. Okay. So here in this case, we will perform the send scan. What exactly the send scan will do? Nmap will try to connect each and every port. It will first send the send packet. Once it receives the acknowledgement, Nmap will send the reset packet in order to terminate the connection. So from whatever port, it is getting the acknowledgement, it will consider that port is open. So here in this case, we can see that Nmap has found a few ports which are open on the target machine. Okay, so these are the ports, which is port 21, 25. Okay, and these are the services. Okay, so the next step is to finding out what all the services, or we can say what kind of application servers which are running behind these protocols. Okay, so how to do that? For that, we will be using a tool called netcat. Okay, so for this demo, let's take an example of port 21. We'll be giving, so this is the syntax. Okay, nc-v, which is for verbose, then the IP address of our target machine, and the port number. Let's say here in this case, port 21. So as you can see, once we connect to that port, we will receive a banner from the target port or the target application server which is running. So here in this case, it is Microsoft FTP service. Okay. So what we can do is we can do the same thing on, let's say, SMTP port. So we'll just type port 25, and here in this case, you can see that we have got a beautiful output. So here in this case, it is saying that Microsoft ESMTP mail service, and we have also got the version of that application server. Okay, so these kind of details are quite useful for during the time of penetration testing. So actually, these kind of details will help you to find the exploits for all these ports, all these services. Okay. So instead of enumerating each port one by one, what we will do is we will automate all these things. We will use the help of Nmap, okay, and we will perform a version scan. Okay. Let me clear the screen. Paste, and it will initiate the scan. It will give for few. We will give time for few seconds. So we'll be receiving the output in any minute. Okay, so we have got the output over here. Now, as you can see, Nmap has scanned all the codes, and it also even identified what all the application versions are running behind these codes. So for 421, as we seen previously, it was Microsoft FTPD. For 425, it was ESMTP, and this was the version. And likewise, it has identified the different banners which it got after connecting all these codes. Okay, so this is the details regarding what all services are running on the target machine. But the next question is what operating system is running. Okay, so the one simple way is since here in this case we know that the application servers are belong to Microsoft. So one case would be obviously the target machine is the Windows operating system. Okay. The another thing is here in this case from port 445 we got another banner detail Windows XP. Okay. So likewise, what you can do is maybe what you can do is you can search this version on the internet to check this version of ESFTP Microsoft installed in which particular operating system. Okay, so this is one manual way. So again, we are going to take the help of Nmap and we are going to perform an operating system scan. So let's see what Nmap tells about this IP address. So this is the command which is nmap-s capital S. This is up to you if you want to add or not. So it's just if you are initiating any Nmap scan from root privilege, it will by default perform common user, then it will perform a TCP scan. Okay, so we have got the result, and here you can see that the target OS details is Microsoft Windows XP Service Pack 2 or Service Pack 3. Okay, so we have got few details. One, we know the target IP address. We know the what all services is running on the target machine, and also we have got the details like what operating system is running on the target machine. The next step would be the performing the the vulnerability scan. Okay, that's up to you that how you want to do it. Either you can use all the knowledges which we have got, and you can search all the exploits manually on google.com, exploitdb.com. Or maybe you can take a help of tools like Nessus or maybe Nmap. Okay, so let's say if we want to perform a vulnerability scan using Nmap, then we can use this command. Okay, which is nmap-script, and just to mention, perform a vulnerability scan. Okay, sorry, use the vulnerability identify scripts. And on this IP address. So basically what Nmap will do, Nmap will check its all NAC scripts, okay, and which comes in the vulnerable category. It will perform all of those scripts against this target IP address. So it is going to take 5 to 10 minutes, but what we have done is we have already identified what, just 1 minute, okay. So we have already identified what vulnerabilities is present on the target machine, okay, which is here in this case is the vulnerability. So here in this case, what we are telling is Nmap do a port scan on 445, and on that port perform this NAC script. Okay, so what basically the script will do is it will try to find whether this particular vulnerability is exist on that port or not. So here in this case we have we can see that we have got a result, and the Nmap says that it is vulnerable, and this particular exploit is using these particular exploits can use it on this port 445. Okay, so the next step is to finding this exploit code. Okay, So the one way is like you can copy this code, CV code, okay. You can go to google.com, you can type keywords like this and space exploit, okay. Now here you can see that we have got multiple exploits, okay, on different sites. So generally what we do is, we visit each and every pages and we try to download those scripts, before executing this on the production machine. First, we make sure that it get executed on our local machine, okay, because the reason is like we don't know what exactly this exploit codes are going to do if it is not verified, okay. So likewise, you can check each and every script. But here in this case, we have done the hard job, and we have found this exploit code, okay, which is the same one. We found it on a GitHub page, okay, which is coded by Andy Aso. So coming to this code, Python code, okay. So as my friend Rishabh said, so we cannot use any kind of exploit code which is available on internet blind. The reason is the people who create this kind of exploit code, they make sure they put some kind of things within that exploit code that a script kiddie should not be able to execute it blindly. Okay. Or maybe in some cases you might have to do some modification within the exploit code to make it work. So here in this case, as you can see, instruction has given by the author of this exploit code, which he said like within this whole exploit code, only one part which we have to change, which is this one, okay, which is our reverse TCP shellcode payload, okay, and even the person has given a command using MSF Venom, we can generate the shellcode, okay. So here in this case, what we will do is we'll copy this command. It's the same command which is here, okay. We'll come to our terminal, okay. We'll paste this command. Let me just zoom this commands, okay, which is MSF Venom -P, which tells what kind of payload the MSF Venom has to use. We have to provide some options which is required by this payload. One is the lhost. Lhost basically means the attacker's IP. Lport, which tells the attacker's listener IP on which we will be getting the reverse connection. And these are the few options which you will learn during the time of course. Okay, so once we hit enter, so we will get the output in any minute. Okay, so here you can see that MSF Venom has given us the payload which we can use within this exploit code. Okay, so we have already done this task. We have already downloaded that exploit code on our local machine, and also we have done the changes over here. We just did only one change. We just changed this payload, nothing else. Okay, so I'll just exit from this Vim editor. Okay, and what I'll do is, before we execute this exploit code, I'll start a listener over here. So for this, we are going to take the help of netcat, and here you can see that we have given the listener port as 443. We will start the listener on port 443. I'll zoom this screen. Okay. Now, as you can see that we are getting a message listening on any 443. Okay. So what we will do is we'll copy the final command. Okay. So since it's a Python exploit code, we are going to take the help of Python. Okay. This is our target IP address. 6 basically says like what kind of operating system is on the target machine, which is here in this case we know it is Windows XP, Service Pack 2 or Service Pack 3. Okay. So here in this 6 basically stands for Service Pack 3. Okay. And the port number, which is 445. And here we have our listener port. Listener is running, which is on port 443, and we will just hit enter. Now we have got the response. It has said that connection to this IP address, and it has said that exploit has finished. Now let's go back to this tab. Now as you can see that we have got a successful reverse connection from our target machine. Okay, so the people who has a background about playing the CTF, we have actually a system shell over here. That means we are the administrator, or we have the system privilege on this target machine. Okay, just to prove it whether I'm correct, we'll go back to this directory. Okay, we'll go to this directory called documents and settings. Okay, we'll type that, and here you can see there one user which is XP demo. Okay, so if I just type net users, we'll get a list of users which are available on the system. And if we just check the details of XP demo, you can see this is a part of this user is part of administrator's local group. Okay, so if I don't have the system shell, then I won't be able to get into this this user's desktop. Okay, so let's just try to get into this folder, and yeah, since everything is working fine, then we will move to the desktop folder. So generally, what happens is, in case of any kind of CTF, or even if you start pursuing the OSCP exam, so generally all this kind of flags relies on the administrator's desktop, or in case of Linux on the root folder. Okay, so here in this case, since it's a Windows machine, we are going to check on the desktop folder, and here we can see that we have found a flag which is a txt. Let's just read the content. Flag type space flag.txt, and we have got our final flag. So in case of even like the same examples the same examples applies on a real world scenario also. But yes, in case of real world scenario, you have to deal with different kind of technologies. Maybe you have to bypass some firewalls, IDS, IPS. Okay, so yeah, the real world will not be simple as this is. Okay, this is just an example. Okay. So that's all from my side, Rishabh.
So thanks, Chetan. But there are like few people who has like asking for performing this exploit part. So once we complete the course structure, we will show you again that how did we choose it, how we perform these activities, and what are the detailed steps that we have performed. Right. So I'll present.